Okay, this is going to sound a little weird, but what if I told you that a bunch of train crashes from the 1800s hold the secret to your business's future? It's true. We're going to dive into how a really old problem with time explains one of the biggest challenges for businesses trying to get seen by AI right now.
So it all kicks off with this historical puzzle. You have to ask yourself, what on earth do 19th century train collisions have to do with AI? And the answer, believe it or not, reveals this fundamental rule about how all complex systems, whether we're talking about old school railroads or modern AI, figure out what and who is actually important enough to notice.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're going way back to October 1883. The railroads across North America, they are in the middle of a massive crisis. And it's not a tech problem. The problem is time. Literally, time itself. And it's grinding the entire economy to a halt. You see, the issue wasn't a lack of clocks. I mean, every city had one. But, and this is the crazy part, Pittsburgh's noon was totally different from Philadelphia's. Chicago's time, not the same as Milwaukee's just down the road. Every single town set its clock by whenever the sun was highest in their sky. This created thousands of tiny little time zones. And the result? Just absolute complete chaos for anyone trying to, travel or ship anything.
And this really gets to the heart of it. This wasn't just, inconvenient. It was downright dangerous. I'm talking trains literally colliding with each other. Timetables were basically just suggestions, completely useless. The whole system was falling apart, all because of a single, simple failure. Nobody could agree on the classification of one basic thing: what time it was.
Okay, so the problem is pretty clear. And into this chaos steps a man named William F. Allen. He comes forward with a solution. And believe me, at the time, this idea was seen as totally radical.
So what was his big idea? Just throw out all the local times, get rid of them, and instead create 4 standardized time zones for the whole continent. Every single city inside a given zone would agree to use the exact same time. Now, you can probably guess what happened next. Instant pushback. Cities were like, wait, why should we have to conform to some arbitrary standard? We've always done it our way.
But Allen's response really nailed the core principle that changed everything. He basically said, look, your individual standards, even if they're perfectly accurate for you, are what's stopping the whole system from working. For any kind of coordination to happen, you have to agree on the classification first. And wow, were the results immediate and dramatic. On November 18th, 1883, the day it all switched over, collisions just plummeted. Schedules suddenly made sense, commerce started moving way faster. And here's the big takeaway. Agreeing on that one standard classification, it unlocked coordination on a massive nationwide scale. So, okay, that's the history lesson. Now let's bring this right into the present day. Because that chaos on the railroads back in 1883, it's a perfect mirror for what's happening to your business online right now. Only instead of thousands of local times, we have thousands of businesses all using their own unique creative language to describe themselves. Think about it. AI systems, like Google Search, ChatGPT, all of them, they're facing the exact same problem as those train conductors from the 1800s. They are desperately trying to make sense of a world where there are no agreed-upon standards. So an AI is trying to build a map of your industry, right? But it's looking at thousands of different clocks. One business says it's a firm, the one next door calls itself a studio, and a third one is an agency. Now, to a machine that works by finding patterns, all that creative variation just looks like random noise. It's confusing. And this is the absolute crucial point. Before an AI can do anything with you, recommend you, cite you, rank you, it has to first agree with itself on what you are. If your signals are all over the place, it just can't classify you. And if it can't classify you, then as far as that system is concerned, you might as well be invisible. So that's the problem. This is where the solution comes in. It's basically the modern-day version of time zones, but for your business. We call it structural identity. To put it really simply, structural identity is just about setting up your online presence in a way that gives AI a clear, standard way to get who you are. It's that technical foundation, that little piece of code that tells an AI, hey, this is what this entity is, before it ever decides what to do about it. And this table just lays out the 2 different paths you can take perfectly. On one hand, you've got the creative approach. It feels unique, right? You call yourself an agency today, a studio tomorrow, but to an AI, that's just a failure to classify. Then you have the structural approach. This one demands consistency. You pick one label and you stick with it everywhere, even in your website's code. And the result? The AI knows exactly what you are and it can start to coordinate with you. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I actually build this thing? Well, the good news is it's not guesswork. There's a really clear four-stage model you can follow. It's a pretty straightforward framework. First, you audit what you've already got out there. Then, you select your single standard. After that, you standardize your language everywhere. And finally, you declare it. You make it official on a technical level. It's basically a process to engineer an identity that an AI can finally understand. So, steps 1 and 2 are all about discovery and making a choice. First, the audit. Go look at your Google Knowledge Panel, your LinkedIn category, your website's code. Ask yourself, do they all match? I'll bet for most businesses, the answer is a big no. Then, step 2 is to select. You pick your one single source of truth. This is your official time zone. You choose a primary business type from a standard list, like schema.org, and you just commit to it, no more changing it up. And the last 2 steps? They're all about enforcement. You have to make it stick. So you standardize by picking one primary category label, let's say marketing agency, and you use that exact phrase everywhere. No more creative versions of it. Then, finally, you declare it. You actually install schema markup on your website. This is like the official technical handshake with AI systems, where you formally tell them, hey, this is what I am. Okay, so all of this is building to a really crucial point. And I know what you might be thinking, that this is all about becoming some boring cookie-cutter business. But it's not. It's about being strategic. You have to think of it as 2 separate jobs. First, there are your classification signals. Your business type, your category labels. That stuff is for the machines. It has to be rigid, it has to be standardized. But your creativity, your brand voice, your amazing ideas, that's for the humans. That's where you get to be unique and stand out. All the standardization does is build the foundation so your creativity can actually be seen by anyone. Just think back to the time zones for a second. New York and London are totally different cities, right? They have unique cultures, unique identities, but they both agree to use standardized time. They didn't lose who they were, they just gained the ability to interact with the entire world. And that is exactly what a structural identity does for your business in the age of AI. Which brings us to the final big question, the one you really need to ask yourself. Is it possible that the very thing you think makes you stand out, your creativity, your unique descriptions, is actually what's making you completely invisible?